Oh wow. Hey everybody, welcome back if you've been here, and welcome fresh meat if you're looking for a new game to try out. As you saw a second ago, I have recently hit the 1,000-hour mark in playtime for Armored Core 6, and I think it might be beneficial if someone with this kind of experience tells you how they feel about the ins and outs of Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. In this video, I'm going to ask myself a few questions pertaining to the gameplay, the story, and other stuff. We will be getting into my opinion of the goods and bads. So, first question. Alright, everyone feels like they have to answer this question, and everyone always says, yes, but... And I just want to put it out there and say, yes, of course it is. Stop asking stupid questions. Every time Armored Core has a new installment that has a new number attached to it, there is some shift in gameplay and feel of the game. Sometimes it's pretty major. The only time it's not that apparent is when it's one of the expansion-like sequels coming out. And even then, there is often a shift because the tech in the game got a little better from the previous installment. So yes, it is 100% an Armored Core game. Moving on! Well, the story is pretty good. If you can avoid skipping through the cutscenes and actually give it a chance, you might find yourself enjoying the ever-present story that is in fact in this game. The visuals are amazing in-game and in cutscenes both alike. Pretty sure they're using the same engine. The characters are almost always communicating with you and with each other, helping to keep you engaged and feeling like you are involved in actually working on the job. Of course, being a FromSoft game, don't get too attached to those characters. They might not make it to the end of every time you play. The environments are immense and beautiful, and as you would expect, your AC will even occasionally plow through smaller structures when you just kind of don't care to go around. These rich environments add to the story through both gameplay and flashy events.
Great. They really are like fireworks.
Single player is probably the main focus of most Armored Core games in the series, and Armored Core 6 is no different. It shines especially in story mode with all the pretty visuals and whatnot, but the arena is also a great place to go and get a taste of AC on AC fighting if you prefer to just raw dog it with no repairs. And of course, there are plenty of hidden goodies to find around the world if you search for new weapons, frame parts, and even hidden AC fights with full dialogue.
We'll try brute force. Raven, is this how we meet in person?
Giving you that feeling of being in a giant robot anime like Gundam. While money still isn't really a big issue anymore like it was in pre-Gen 4 of Armored Core, I still feel like I get a real sense of reward for performing well when carrying out a mission, and of course, you have to go back and S-rank all those missions too, right? Well, yeah, we'll get to that issue anyway. And we can't forget larger-than-life boss fights. Oh yeah, that is absolutely a thing here.
That's the stuff. Walter knows how to pick 'em.
Well, the PvP wasn't the biggest focus in the game, and it shows in the sheer lack of balance of the weapons in game when it first came out. In fact, I think it may be this game's biggest drawback, is the PvP. Now don't get me wrong, I love playing it, and I often do, but even now after all the PvP focused updates, there are still some glaring issues with the balance and the usual problems that FromSoft has when it comes to netcode. Oh, and we might not be getting any more major updates to any of that. We have already surpassed the number of versions that they usually give us in a single entry. But today is a different age in gaming from what it was 10 years ago, and regularly updating a game for years to come is a new norm. So who knows, maybe they aren't done yet. Freaking sweet, man. Our AC is what everyone in the Armored Core realm gets to see of us, and the customization is pretty hot, without getting too complicated anyway, which can turn some new players off to this type of game. Not everyone is like me and wants to spend 4 or 5 hours in the assembly hangar optimizing 150 different numbers on screen. So to keep things nice and inclusive, we just got 100 things to min-max. All through the use of 12 whole categories of parts. In those 12 different categories of parts, we have a pretty decent selection to select from, though many of us originals do kind of miss things that are missing, like weapon arms, coolers, shoulder weapons, etc. But even with those missing parts, we still get some of the key parts we always expect to see, like the Kurosawa, the Moonlight, and, of course, the Pile Bunker. And speaking of melee, this time around we get a whole new slew of melee options that aren't just blades anymore. After you get done picking out your parts, get on over to the paint and pick out some colors to slap on that AC. And if you're really into it, you can get real fancy with those emblems and make a bunch of custom emblems to use in various different ways. I know people who use them to try and hide damage on their ACs since the emblems don't show battle scars. Would you do anything different? Oh yeah, and here comes the bad. Number 1. I want my damn laser whip. I was a bit disappointed when I was teased with that ghost using a laser whip, and all I get is this one plasma caster. I don't even really like to consider that thing a whip. I want to do that downward whip motion from jumping like in the trailer. Okay, half jokes aside, I'm serious, I really do want that whip. I don't really care for how OS tuning works, and I think something more like the 4th gen tuning would have been better, even if it is a little more complicated and might have turned a few other potential players off to the game. Also, the stagger system, or the ACS strain, is way too present. I think it should have been dialed back a bit to make it more of a rewarding experience when you actually successfully stagger your opponent, like when you break a boss's poise in the Souls games. The S ranking of missions is mostly fun, but there are a few missions where it's truly just an unfun grind to try and do. And I think it would have been beneficial to have some sort of extra reward attached to the S-rank missions, like more tuning points or hidden parts to unlock, giving an actual incentive to want to S-rank those harder grindy missions. I don't care about the hard lock, by the way. It just changes the functionality of quick turn from being a thing you use to keep enemies in your sights to being a method of breaking away and retreating to regroup if you need to. Because sometimes when you're going up against those big fatties, and you're not a big fatty, you need to retreat. Which the quick turn should just be a thing and not in the OS tuning. Also, that's another reason why I don't like the OS tuning. End thoughts. Overall, I really enjoyed Armored Core 6, and if you like big robots and the idea of piloting one, then this is definitely a game you should be checking out. It has its issues, and it's clearly not perfect in places that FromSoft really should be better at by now, like netcode. But if I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd say it's a corgi. Oh, you wanted an actual number. Well, for a game in general, overall, if I were not an Armored Core series fan, I'd give it an 8, but we hardcore fans tend to be more critical of this thing we have a slightly unhealthy love for, and in that case, I give it more of a 7 out of 10. I hope you all enjoyed this and found it to be helpful in your decision of whether or not you want to play Armored Core 6. As in, yes, you do. You want to play it now. You want to go to Steam or PS5 or 4 or Xbox and buy it. Bye now.
Including evaluation. Well done.